So, is the red wave losing some momentum? Recent polling, fundraising totals, and some election results have some Republicans concerned. So, if you're concerned about it, what can be done about it? You know, earlier this year, President Biden goaded Senator Mitch McConnell at a press conference at the White House, saying, "Hey, what's Mitch for? What does he stand for?" And it should have been a layup for the GOP. The GOP knows what it stands for. But that question really still hasn't quite been answered loudly, coherently, and confidently as the midterms approach. Now the Kentucky senator is starting to manage expectations for taking back control of his chamber in November. Donors are fretting and candidates are struggling, yet the GOP's argument for a return to power remains a bit of a muddled mess. Well, why is quite simple. McConnell, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, among others, have thus far thought it safer to run against the far-left agenda of today's Democrat Party than develop an alternative plan of their own. McConnell is right to acknowledge that Senate races are a different animal. They are statewide. They're more expensive. They're more complex. Some of Mr. Trump's hand-picked candidates are also, at this point, underperforming. But leadership requires a message that gives voters confidence and maintains enthusiasm and momentum over the long haul. From taxes and energy to China and the culture war, Republicans need to advance a meaningful counter-narrative. They should articulate not just a vision of America if the far left retains control of Washington, but an alternative future that keeps Americans safe, free, and prosperous. There are some truisms in politics, folks, that party leaders often like to ignore. Enough swing voters to make a difference in a marginal seat will vote for the devil they know over someone with a negative, nebulous message. People also give credit to politicians who have a transparent set of plans and ideas. Voters like to vote for candidates who are for something, not just against something. The Beltway GOP line of thinking is, though, the more that you say, the more the opposition can attack you. GOP leaders have worked to take issues off of the table rather than give Democrats more to shoot at. Now, that may have some merit, but a lot of voters ultimately see that as a cop-out. Mr. Trump, for all of his flaws, knew enough to tap into the anxiety and the frustration of people who feel like they have been left behind by the system. Newer voices within the party consequently speak to the needs of blue-collar workers, middle-class, and minority communities far more effectively than McConnell has ever been able to do. That's just not in his political DNA. He's from a different time and place in our politics. What voters often see is too cold or calculating or too distant to have a strong emotional and motivational impact on the electorate. You can't picture Mitch McConnell making his case to a room full of women or meeting with Latino voters or walking through a housing project. You can barely picture Kevin McCarthy with his perfectly coiffed hair getting into the muck on a construction site. But that, however, is exactly where the Republican Party needs to go and who they must address to make the so-called red wave a reality. With the passage of the phony Inflation Reduction Act, Democrats will finally have a record to run on in November. Between that and the typical abortion fear-mongering that we've come to expect from the left, they're getting comfortable with their own message. President Biden, sidelined by COVID and seemingly perpetually away on vacation, has actually seen his poll numbers tick up a bit. Gas prices have dropped every week since June, and the student loan entitlement program could be another carrot for Democrats to offer to undecideds. If Republicans, folks, can't come up with a specific, proactive, pro-freedom and pro-security agenda that helps them meet expectations this year of all years, watch out. November may not be anything close to a tsunami, and forget about talking about 2024 as a sure thing.